Alien woman aimed her weapon at me, but the little girl stepped between and said, "This is my father." The small human colony on the edge of alien space was quiet in the early morning. Smoke rose from broken buildings, and the ground was littered with broken machines. Daniel Brooks walked carefully through the ruins, his boots crunching over glass and metal. He held a small bag over his shoulder. Inside, he had some food, a water filter, and a few medical supplies. Every step he took was careful because the alien patrols were always near, watching, hunting humans. Daniel had been on this planet for more than 2 years. The colony had once been full of people, but now only a few remained. Most had left or were taken by the aliens who claimed the sector. Daniel had stayed. He moved quietly through the broken streets, searching for food and anything valuable that could help the few remaining humans. His face was tired and his hands were rough from work, but his eyes held a steady calm. He had learned long ago that fear would only make him a target. Calmness kept him alive. He reached a small market building that had partially survived the raids. Inside, he found cans of food, a few bottles of water, and some clothing. He packed quickly. He needed to be out before the alien patrol returned. The last time he had been caught, he barely escaped. He knew the patrols were careful and they could kill without warning. Daniel had learned to trust only his own skills. He had no weapons, only his cleverness and his speed. Suddenly, he heard a sound outside, a soft voice calling his name. He froze. "Daniel," the voice whispered. It was weak, small, but it carried hope. Daniel's heart skipped a beat. He ran to the window and saw a small figure standing at the edge of the street. The figure was a little girl. She waved, holding something in her hands. Daniel's heart lifted. It was Lyra. The small alien girl had been with him for years. He had found her as a child during a raid. She had been scared, alone, and injured. Daniel had saved her and promised to protect her. Ever since, she had called him father. "Lyra," Daniel whispered. He opened the door slowly, careful not to make too much noise. "Stay low," he said. The girl nodded. She knew the rules. Humans had to be careful in this world. Aliens were everywhere, watching. As Daniel stepped outside, the air felt heavy. The wind blew the dust from the ruined buildings into his face. He scanned the street. Nothing moved. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw them. A group of aliens appeared at the far end of the street. They moved fast, disciplined. Their armor reflected the rising sun, making them look sharp and dangerous. At their front was an alien woman. Her armor was darker than the others and her eyes were cold. Daniel recognized her immediately. Kayla. She had been hunting humans for months. She believed humans were weak and dangerous, and she had killed many who resisted. Her weapon was already raised, aimed at Daniel without hesitation. She moved with skill, her posture ready to fire. The patrol behind her waited, silent and disciplined. Daniel's heart did not race. He knew fear would not help. He moved slowly, keeping Lyra behind him. She clutched his hand tightly, looking up at him with trust and courage. Daniel's mind raced. He had to think of a way to survive. Running was risky. Fighting was impossible. He needed something else. Kayla's eyes narrowed. "Human," she said in a voice that was sharp and clear. "Stop, you are under arrest." Her weapon glowed softly. The hum made Daniel's stomach tighten. He took a step forward. "I am not resisting," he said calmly. "I only search for food." The patrol did not move. Kayla raised her weapon higher, her finger ready to fire. Daniel took another step. He knew he could not outrun them if they shot, but he also could not leave Lyra alone. The little girl looked at him, her small face serious. Daniel felt a deep determination rise inside him. Suddenly, Lyra stepped forward. Daniel gasped. The small alien girl moved between him and Kayla. She raised her hands. "This is my father," she said clearly, her voice strong despite her small size. Kayla's eyes widened. She blinked. The patrol hesitated. Aliens did not usually hear humans called family by one of their own. They had rules. Humans were dangerous, yes, but alien children rarely claimed them as family. Kayla lowered her weapon slightly, confused. She looked at the small girl. She looked at Daniel. Daniel's heart leaped. Lyra's words gave him a small chance. "She is my daughter," he said calmly. "I only protect her." Kayla's eyes narrowed. She did not trust easily, but the patrol did not move. The other aliens whispered among themselves. Kayla stepped closer. "Explain," she demanded. Her voice was sharp. "Why is she with you? Why does she call you father?" Daniel took a deep breath. "I found her after a raid. She was alone and hurt. I could not leave her. I raised her. I protected her. That is all." Kayla's eyes flickered. She did not lower her weapon completely. She studied Daniel. She studied Lyra. The patrol waited. The air felt tense. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Lyra looked up at Daniel. Her small hand held his. "He is good," she said softly. "He never hurts anyone. He saves people. He is my father." Kayla hesitated. Her weapon still glowed. The rules of her people were clear. Humans could not claim alien children. Humans could not live freely in this sector. And yet, here was a small girl saying the opposite. Daniel saw the hesitation. He saw the possibility. Before Kayla could respond, a distant sound echoed through the ruined streets. A rumble, footsteps, other humans hiding nearby, or another alien patrol. Daniel could not tell, but the noise reminded him of the danger. He could not fight. He could not run. He could only wait. Kayla finally spoke. "You will come with us," she said. Her voice was firm but not angry. "We will take you for questioning. If your story is true, perhaps you will not be harmed." Daniel nodded. He did not argue. He kept Lyra close. The patrol moved forward. They surrounded him carefully but did not raise weapons. Kayla stayed in front, her eyes sharp and calculating. As they walked through the ruined streets, Daniel thought about the years he had spent with Lyra. He remembered the first day he found her, curled under a broken wall. He remembered the fear in her eyes and the way she had held his hand, trusting him completely. He remembered teaching her to speak, to run quietly, to survive. She was more than a child. She was hope. Lyra looked up at Daniel. "Will they take us away?" she asked softly. "They might," Daniel said calmly, "but we will stay together. Nothing can change that." The patrol moved them to a larger building at the edge of the colony. It was a temporary holding place for captured humans. Other humans were inside, looking tired and frightened. Daniel noticed them, but his focus stayed on Lyra. She held his hand tightly and he held hers. Together they were not afraid. Kayla watched them closely. She did not understand yet. Humans were small, weak, and unpredictable. But Daniel and Lyra showed something she had never seen: care, trust, and courage. That was dangerous in its own way. The building was cold and empty. Daniel and Lyra were separated from the other humans by a thin wall. They could still see each other. Daniel bent down to Lyra's level. "Stay close to me," he whispered. "No matter what happens, we are together." Lyra nodded. She knew the words were true. She trusted him completely. Daniel took a deep breath. The patrol outside moved slowly. Kayla did not speak. She only watched. Hours passed. Daniel stayed calm. He kept Lyra close. He did not speak to the other humans much. There was no need. The danger was constant, and the key to survival was patience. He could not make mistakes. He could not show fear. Finally, Kayla entered the room. She looked at Daniel. She looked at Lyra. "Your story is unusual," she said, "but I see it is true. You care for her. She calls you father. That is rare." Daniel nodded. "Yes, she is my family." Kayla hesitated. Her weapon was lowered now. The patrol behind her watched quietly. For the first time, Daniel saw uncertainty in their leader. A human could survive in alien space. A human could be more than what the aliens believed. And a small alien girl could change everything with a single word. Daniel held Lyra's hand. He felt hope rise inside him. For the first time in years, he thought the humans might have a chance. Not because of weapons, not because of machines, but because of courage, trust, and family. The sun rose higher, casting light over the broken colony. Daniel, Lyra, and even Kayla felt the warmth differently now. The day had begun, but nothing would be the same again. Daniel and Lyra walked slowly behind Kayla and her patrol. The streets of the ruined colony were quiet now, but the tension in the air was heavy. Every building they passed had signs of war. Broken walls, burnt machines, and shattered windows told the story of humans fighting to survive. Daniel kept Lyra close, letting her hold his hand. She stayed quiet, trusting him completely. Kayla did not speak much. Her eyes moved constantly, scanning the streets and rooftops. She wanted to see if humans would try to run. She wanted to test Daniel's words. Behind her, the patrol moved silently, like shadows. Their weapons glowed faintly in the early sunlight, showing they were ready for action. Daniel tried to stay calm. He knew they were being watched closely, and any sudden move could be dangerous. But he also knew the patrol was curious. Aliens rarely saw humans protect alien children. That fact could give him a chance. He kept his mind focused. He needed to stay alive, protect Lyra, and find a way to turn this situation into hope. As they walked, Lyra looked up at him. "Father," she said softly, "why do they not shoot us now?" Daniel smiled faintly. "They are curious," he said. "They see that we are not like the humans they think about. We are strong in ways they do not expect." Lyra nodded, though she did not fully understand. She was small, but she was brave. She had grown up in a dangerous world, learning quickly how to survive. She knew her father was clever and could protect her. She trusted him completely. Kayla finally spoke. Her voice was firm but not angry. "You have stayed here for a long time," she said. "You could have left when others did. Why did you stay?" Daniel took a slow breath. He did not fear her question. He wanted her to understand. "Because I had someone to protect," he said. "I found Lyra after the raids. She was hurt and alone. I could not leave her. I could not let her die. I made her my family." The patrol moved a little closer. Their weapons were not lowered. Kayla studied Daniel carefully. Humans often lied to survive. She needed proof. But the calm in Daniel's voice, the steady way he held Lyra's hand, told her something she did not expect. This human was different. He was not afraid, but he was careful. He had courage and patience. Daniel and Lyra were led into a building that had once been a command center for the colony. The doors were heavy and made a loud sound when they closed. Inside, it was quiet and cold. Other humans were already inside, sitting quietly or pacing nervously. They looked at Daniel with hope and fear. Daniel moved to a corner with Lyra. She sat on the floor holding his hand. He looked at the other humans. They were tired, scared, and unsure. He saw the fear in their eyes. He knew they had been through a lot. Kayla stepped forward. "You will stay here until we decide what to do with you," she said. "You are not free, but you will not be harmed if you follow our rules." Daniel nodded. He understood. "We will follow the rules," he said calmly. Lyra nodded too. She stayed close to him. Hours passed. The patrol came and went. Kayla returned occasionally, watching Daniel and Lyra. She wanted to see if the child really trusted him. She wanted to see if Daniel's words were true. During the quiet moments, Daniel talked to the other humans softly. He shared what little food he had saved. He told them to stay calm and be ready. "We must not make mistakes," he said. "We cannot give them a reason to hurt us. We survive with our mind and patience." Some humans listened carefully. Others stayed quiet, too scared to move. Daniel understood. Fear was normal in a world like this. But he also knew humans had a strength that aliens often overlooked. They could endure, adapt, and fight back when needed. Late in the afternoon, Kayla returned with another alien. He was older and wore different armor. His name was Raven. He studied Daniel closely. "Why is this human with the child?" he asked. Kayla explained. "He saved her. He calls her his daughter. She trusts him. I do not know how, but it is true." Raven's eyes narrowed. "It is rare for humans to care for children. They are weak. They take what they need and leave the rest. This one is different." Kayla nodded slowly. "Yes, he is different. I want you to see for yourself." Raven looked at Daniel. He did not speak, only studied. Daniel held Lyra's hand. He felt calm, knowing that courage was the key. Humans had survived worse than this. The night came quickly. The building was dark and cold. Daniel made sure Lyra was comfortable. He told her stories to keep her calm. He talked about other humans who survived and about hope. Lyra listened quietly, her small eyes shining. She knew that her father's words were true. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed outside. The walls shook slightly. Daniel's heart raced. He could hear distant shouting and explosions. Aliens were moving fast outside. The humans inside were frightened. Kayla and her patrol returned immediately. "Stay calm," Kayla said. "This is a raid by a hostile faction. We will handle it." Daniel did not panic. He kept Lyra close. He knew that if he stayed calm, others would follow. He looked at the other humans and whispered, "Stay together. Listen to me. We will survive." The noise grew louder. The building shook again. Aliens and humans alike could hear the chaos outside. Daniel moved carefully, watching the windows. He saw small figures moving in the distance. They were hostile aliens. They were attacking anything they could find. Kayla raised her weapon. "Stay back," she ordered her patrol. "We will not let them enter." Daniel watched quietly. He saw an opportunity. The humans were cornered, but he knew that cleverness could save them. He looked at the walls, the doors, and the windows. He saw ways to move and protect the others. Lyra watched him closely. "Father," she whispered, "what do we do?" Daniel smiled faintly. "We wait," he said. "We watch, we act when it is safe. Courage is knowing when to move, not just when to fight." The hours passed slowly. The attack outside was strong, but the building held. Daniel and Lyra stayed together. Other humans looked at them with hope. They saw that Daniel was not afraid. They saw that he was clever and patient. Finally, the attack stopped. The hostile aliens retreated. The building was safe, but the humans were shaken. Daniel helped them move quietly, checking for injuries and making sure everyone was okay. Lyra helped too, small but brave. Kayla watched quietly. She saw something she had never noticed before. Humans could endure pain, fear, and danger, but they did not give up. They could survive even when everything seemed lost. Daniel and Lyra were proof of that. After the attack, Kayla spoke. "You survived," she said to Daniel. "You protected the humans and this child. That is unusual." Daniel nodded. "We survive because we care. We survive because we protect each other. That is what humans do." Kayla looked at him carefully. She saw the truth in his words. Humans were not just weak creatures to be controlled. They had courage, patience, and cleverness that could outlast many dangers. The night was quiet now. The humans slept, exhausted but safe. Daniel stayed awake for a while, holding Lyra. He looked out the window at the ruins. The world was dangerous, but he felt hope. Humans could survive here. They could protect each other. They could be more than the aliens thought. Lyra stirred and whispered, "Father, will they let us stay?" Daniel smiled softly. "We will find a way," he said. "As long as we are together, we can survive anything." The stars shone above the ruined colony. Daniel looked at them and felt a quiet strength. Humans had been underestimated. Humans had been hunted. But humans could endure. Humans could fight back. Humans could protect what mattered most. And with Lyra by his side, Daniel knew that he was not just surviving for himself. He was surviving for the child he loved. He was surviving for hope. Kayla and her patrol did not understand fully yet. But they had seen something that night that would stay with them. Humans were more than prey. Humans were courage, patience, and family. The night passed quietly. The humans slept. The aliens watched. And Daniel knew that the fight was only beginning. But for the first time in a long time, he felt that hope was real. The sun rose slowly over the ruined colony, casting long shadows on the broken buildings. Daniel Brooks sat quietly in the corner of the building, Lyra curled against his side. The air was still, but the danger was not gone. Kayla and her patrol were outside, moving carefully around the perimeter. They did not trust the humans completely, but for now they had no reason to attack. Daniel looked at Lyra. "We must be ready," he said softly. "They will watch us closely, but we can show them who we are, not with weapons but with patience and courage." Lyra nodded. She had grown strong, even though she was small. She had learned to move quietly, to notice danger, and to trust her father. She knew that together they could survive anything. The other humans were still inside, watching Daniel. Some were tired, some were afraid, but all were curious. They had heard the story of how he had found Lyra during a raid and raised her. They wanted to know how a human could survive in such a dangerous place. Kayla returned to the room. Her eyes were sharp as she studied Daniel and the humans. "You survived the attack last night," she said. "You helped other humans, you protected the child. That is not common, tell me how." Daniel looked at her calmly. "We survive by thinking," he said. "We watch, we wait. We help those who cannot help themselves. We care for each other. That is how humans live." Kayla's eyes narrowed. "Humans are weak," she said. "You should have been destroyed long ago." Daniel shook his head. "Weakness is not just about strength," he said. "Weakness is giving up. Humans survive because we never give up. We protect what matters even when it is dangerous. We fight in ways you do not understand, and sometimes we survive without fighting at all." Lyra smiled slightly. She liked how her father spoke. He always found a way to make hope stronger than fear. "He is right," she said softly. "He protects us. He never gives up." Kayla looked at the girl and then at Daniel. She did not understand. Aliens rarely saw such loyalty. Children did not usually trust humans. Yet here was a small girl saying her life depended on him. Her words had power. They made the aliens pause. Daniel took a deep breath. "I saved Lyra because she needed me. I stayed when others left because it was the right thing to do. That is how humans are. We protect those who cannot protect themselves." The older alien Raven studied him closely. "You claim humans are strong in ways we do not see," he said. "Show me." Daniel thought carefully. He looked around the room. The humans inside were scared, but they could act. "Watch this," he said. He asked the humans to help him gather materials from the building. They found old metal panels, broken tools, and scraps of wiring. Daniel worked quickly, showing the humans how to use the materials to make small devices. Nothing deadly, just clever tools that could help them if danger came again. Lyra helped too. She handed Daniel small pieces and held the tools steady. She was careful and precise. Kayla watched silently. The patrol whispered among themselves. They were curious. Humans were clever, even with nothing. By the afternoon, Daniel had built small traps and alarms that could warn them if aliens tried to attack again. He showed the humans how to use them and explained that even small actions could save lives. "You do not need a weapon to survive," he said. "You need your mind and courage." Kayla stepped closer. "You are clever," she said. "Your people have survived because of intelligence, not strength. But can you survive outside this building, alone?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Yes," he said. "We have survived in worse conditions. We know how to move quietly. We know how to watch. We know how to protect each other." Raven nodded slowly. "Interesting. You are more than weak creatures then." Daniel looked at him calmly. "More than weak, we endure. We adapt. We fight when we must, but we survive even when we cannot fight." The aliens were quiet for a moment. They had never seen a human speak like this. Usually, humans begged, ran, or fought without thought. Daniel spoke with calmness and patience. He had hope, but he also had caution. That combination made him dangerous in ways the aliens did not understand. Later, Kayla returned with a message from her leaders. "You will be tested," she said. "You will have to show that your words are true. We will see if humans can survive under pressure and if the child truly belongs to you." Daniel nodded. He understood. "We are ready," he said. Lyra squeezed his hand. She trusted him completely. The next day, Kayla led Daniel, Lyra, and a few humans outside. The ruins of the colony stretched before them. The sun was bright, but danger could appear anywhere. Kayla gave them strict rules. "Move carefully," she said. "Do not try to run. Show your skills without breaking the rules. We are watching." Daniel and Lyra moved slowly, keeping close. The humans followed. Daniel showed them how to use the environment to protect themselves. He pointed out places to hide, paths that were safer, and how to listen for distant movement. Suddenly, a small alien patrol appeared nearby. They were not hostile, but they were curious. Daniel guided the humans to stay low and move quietly. The patrol passed without noticing them. Kayla and Raven watched from a distance. They were impressed. Humans could survive without fighting. They could think and act under pressure. Daniel smiled faintly at Lyra. "See," he whispered, "we survive because we are clever, not because we fight. That is what makes us strong." Lyra nodded. "We are strong," she said softly. As they moved, Daniel noticed signs of recent alien raids. Broken equipment, footprints, and scorch marks showed that the sector was dangerous. He pointed out the evidence to the humans. "We must be careful," he said. "We learn from what happens around us. That is how we stay alive." Kayla and Raven spoke quietly. "The humans are teaching their own people," Kayla said. "They are showing courage and intelligence we did not expect." Raven nodded slowly. "Perhaps we underestimated them." Daniel led the humans to an abandoned warehouse. Inside, he set up a small camp. He organized the humans, gave them tasks, and showed them how to prepare for danger. He emphasized teamwork and patience. Lyra helped, carrying small items and keeping spirits high. Night fell. Daniel and Lyra sat together, watching the stars through a broken roof. "Father," Lyra whispered, "do you think they will believe us?" Daniel smiled softly. "They may not believe fully," he said, "but they will see. Humans survive in ways aliens do not understand. That is our strength." Suddenly, there was a sound outside, movement in the dark. Daniel stood quickly, holding a small piece of metal he had prepared earlier. Lyra stayed close. He watched carefully. A group of hostile aliens had entered the area. They were searching for humans. Daniel whispered to the others, "Stay quiet. Follow my lead." He guided them through hidden paths, using the traps and alarms he had set earlier. The hostile aliens moved slowly, unaware of the clever devices. One alarm made a loud noise far from the humans. The hostile aliens rushed toward it, leaving Daniel, Lyra, and the other humans safe. Daniel smiled faintly. "See," he whispered, "we survive without fighting. We survive with thought." Kayla and Raven watched from a distance. They saw Daniel's skill and the humans' calmness. They could not understand fully, but they saw the truth. Humans could endure, think, and act under pressure. The hostile aliens left eventually. Daniel led the humans back to the warehouse. Everyone was safe. Lyra hugged him tightly. "Father, we did it," she said. Daniel smiled. "Yes," he said, "we did it together." Kayla approached. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and patience," she said. "Perhaps humans are more than we believed. Perhaps they are strong in ways we cannot measure." Daniel nodded calmly. "We survive because we care. We survive because we protect each other. That is what makes us strong." Raven looked at him quietly. "You are unusual, human. Perhaps your people have more potential than we imagined." Daniel held Lyra's hand. "We survive because we do not give up," he said. "Because we protect what matters, because we endure." Night fell over the colony. The humans slept, tired but safe. Daniel stayed awake with Lyra, watching the stars. He knew that the aliens were beginning to see humans differently. They were beginning to understand that humans could survive, endure, and protect what they loved. The next day would bring more challenges, more tests, more danger. But Daniel knew that as long as he and Lyra stayed together, humans could face anything. And for the first time, he felt that humans were no longer just weak creatures in alien eyes. They were clever, brave, and strong in ways the universe had yet to understand. The next morning, the ruined colony was quiet, but Daniel knew the calm would not last. He walked through the empty streets with Lyra close beside him. The humans who stayed with him followed quietly. Daniel watched the sky carefully, looking for any sign of danger. Aliens were always near, and hostile groups could appear without warning. Kayla and her patrol stayed near, but they gave Daniel and the humans some space. They had begun to notice something unusual. Humans were not only clever, they were careful, calm, and brave. They could survive in ways aliens did not expect. Daniel stopped near a broken building. He looked at the humans and Lyra. "Today we must stay alert," he said. "We do not know what may come, but remember we survive by thinking, not by fighting blindly." The humans nodded, listening closely. They had seen Daniel survive before and they trusted him. Lyra held his hand tightly. She had grown confident because of him. She knew her father would always protect her. Suddenly, the sound of movement echoed through the streets. Daniel froze and looked carefully. A group of hostile aliens was approaching. They were faster and stronger than the patrol Kayla had brought yesterday. Daniel quickly signaled to the humans to hide. They moved quietly into the shadows, staying low behind broken walls and metal debris. Kayla and her patrol arrived immediately, weapons raised. She looked at Daniel. "This is your chance," she said. "Show me your human courage." Daniel nodded slightly. He had no weapons, but he had something stronger, a plan. He quickly moved the humans to safer positions. They stayed silent, hidden, and ready. Lyra followed him closely, helping when she could, small but alert. The hostile aliens entered the area. They did not know Daniel and the humans were prepared. Daniel watched carefully. Using small mirrors and scraps of metal, he created reflections that distracted the aliens. He made noise in one direction, drawing them away from the humans hiding nearby. Lyra watched her father in awe. "Father, how do you do that?" she whispered. Daniel smiled faintly. "We survive because we think," he said. "We cannot fight them directly, but we can guide them, confuse them, and protect ourselves." The hostile aliens moved toward the noise, unaware of the humans hidden in the shadows. Daniel led the group through a maze of broken buildings, keeping them calm and quiet. He showed them which paths were safer, which walls could hide them, and how to use simple tools to protect themselves. Kayla and her patrol followed at a distance. They watched silently. They could not believe what they were seeing. Humans were small and weak compared to aliens, but they moved with intelligence and courage. They did not panic. They did not fight blindly. They survived. Suddenly, one hostile alien noticed movement. It shouted and others rushed forward. Daniel acted quickly. He had set a simple trap with a few broken metal panels and wires. When the alien stepped on it, a loud noise and smoke erupted. The hostile aliens paused, confused. Daniel used the moment. He led the humans to a safer building where they could hide and regroup. Lyra ran quickly beside him, carrying small supplies. She had learned from her father to be brave, careful, and smart. The hostile aliens tried to chase them, but Daniel had planned the escape. Using broken walls, shadows, and clever tricks, he led the humans safely through the ruined colony. Kayla and Raven followed closely, still watching. They began to understand something new about humans. After a long chase, Daniel and the humans reached a larger building that had been partially destroyed. It was strong enough to provide shelter. He guided everyone inside and checked for injuries. Lyra helped him carefully, carrying water and blankets. Kayla stepped inside. "You survived," she said. Her voice was firm but not angry. "You protected the humans and this child. That is unusual. You are clever, brave, and patient. Perhaps we underestimated your species." Daniel nodded calmly. "We survive because we protect each other," he said. "We endure because we care. That is what makes humans strong." Raven looked at Daniel closely. "You do not use weapons much," he said. "You use your mind, patience, and courage. That is unusual for humans." Daniel smiled faintly. "We survive in ways you do not expect." Strength is not always about fighting. Sometimes it is about thinking, planning, and protecting those who matter. Lyra hugged him tightly. "Father," she whispered, "we did it. We are safe." Daniel looked at her and smiled. "Yes," he said, Because we are together, we are strong. That is what makes humans different. The hostile aliens had not given up yet. From outside, the sounds of their searching continued. Daniel knew they could not stay in one place for long. He quickly organized the humans. He showed them how to hide, how to move quietly, and how to protect themselves if attacked again. Kayla and Raven watched quietly. They began to realize that humans were not just weak creatures. They could endure fear, danger, and exhaustion without giving up. They could act cleverly even when everything seemed lost. Humans had something the aliens had not expected: patience, courage, and a willingness to protect others no matter the cost. As the night fell, the humans slept quietly, exhausted but safe. Daniel stayed awake with Lyra, watching the stars through a broken roof. "Father," she whispered, "do you think the aliens understand us now?" Daniel smiled softly. "They are beginning to," he said. "They see that humans can survive, endure, and protect each other. That is what makes us dangerous in our own way." The next morning, the patrol returned to check on them. Daniel and the humans followed instructions carefully. Kayla observed quietly. She had begun to respect Daniel's skill, courage, and patience. Humans were clever, not just strong in body but strong in spirit. Daniel led the humans on another careful walk through the ruins. He showed them signs of danger, hiding places, and ways to move quietly. Lyra followed closely, helping the smaller humans and carrying small supplies. She was growing brave and clever, just like her father. Suddenly, Daniel noticed something unusual. A hostile patrol was preparing to attack a nearby group of humans. Daniel acted quickly. He guided the humans to hidden paths, using the terrain and his knowledge to avoid the enemies. He created small traps and distractions that drew the hostile aliens away from the humans. Kayla and Raven watched silently. They could not understand fully, but they saw the result. Humans were surviving and protecting others without weapons, without fear, and with clever planning. The hostile aliens eventually retreated. Daniel led the humans back to the safe building. Lyra hugged him tightly. "Father," she whispered, "we did it again." Daniel smiled. "Yes," he said, "we survived because we are careful, clever, and brave, and because we protect each other. That is what makes humans strong." Kayla stepped forward. "I see now," she said slowly. "Humans are not weak. They endure. They protect each other. They survive when others would give up. Perhaps we were wrong about your species." Daniel nodded calmly. "We survive because we care," he said, "because we protect what matters. That is what makes humans dangerous in ways you may not understand." Raven looked at Daniel quietly. "You are unusual," he said. "Your people may have more potential than we believed." Daniel held Lyra's hand. "We survive because we do not give up," he said. "Because we endure, because we protect what matters. That is what makes us human." The night passed quietly. The humans slept, exhausted but safe. Daniel stayed awake, watching the stars. He knew the aliens were beginning to see humans differently. They were beginning to understand that humans could endure, act cleverly, and protect others even in the most dangerous situations. Daniel looked at Lyra. "We have survived many dangers," he whispered, "but the fight is not over. We must keep moving, keep thinking, and keep protecting each other." Lyra nodded. She knew her father was right. They were small, but together they were strong. They were clever, brave, and careful. They could survive anything because they had courage, patience, and love. Kayla and her patrol watched from a distance. They had learned something new about humans. Humans were not just weak creatures to control. Humans were clever, patient, brave, and capable of protecting each other. That was dangerous. That was something aliens could not easily defeat. The colony was still dangerous, but Daniel knew that humans had already changed the way the aliens saw them. The bond between him and Lyra, the courage of the humans, and the clever planning had shown something that no weapon could. Humans were more than prey. Humans were strong in ways the universe had not yet understood. And for Daniel and Lyra, that knowledge gave them hope. Hope that humans could survive. Hope that they could protect those who mattered. Hope that even in a world full of danger, humans could endure and thrive. The sun rose slowly over the ruined colony. Daniel Brooks stood quietly outside the building, Lyra holding his hand. The humans around them were awake, alert, and ready. The patrols of Kayla and Raven were nearby, watching. The humans had survived attacks, learned to hide, and acted cleverly under pressure. Now the final test was approaching. Kayla approached Daniel. "The leaders will decide your fate today," she said. "They want to see if your people truly deserve a place in this sector. You will need to prove it." Daniel nodded. He had no fear. He had learned long ago that courage was more powerful than panic. "We are ready," he said calmly. Lyra squeezed his hand. She trusted him completely. The group was led to a large open area outside the colony. The leaders of the alien sector were waiting. They were taller, stronger, and heavily armed. Their eyes were sharp and their expressions were serious. Humans were not often brought before them. Usually they were captured, studied, and eliminated quickly. Daniel understood the danger. One wrong move and all could be lost. Kayla stepped forward. "These humans survived attacks, protected a child, and helped each other," she said. "They are not weak. They endure. They survive in ways that are unusual for their species. I recommend you watch closely." Raven stepped forward as well. "They have shown intelligence, courage, and patience," he said. "They protect each other and act carefully under pressure. That is unusual for humans." The alien leaders studied Daniel and Lyra. They looked at the humans behind them. Some were tired, some were scared, but all had learned from Daniel. The leaders murmured among themselves. Daniel stepped forward slightly. "We have survived because we care," he said. "We protect each other. We endure danger, but we do not give up. That is how humans live. That is how we survive." One of the alien leaders, older and larger than the others, spoke. "Words are easy. Proof is needed. Show us that humans are not just luck, but courage and cleverness. Protect yourselves and each other from danger. We will judge by action, not words." Daniel nodded. He had expected this. He looked at the humans and Lyra. "Stay close," he whispered. "We do this together." Suddenly, alarms rang in the distance. A hostile faction had discovered the colony. They were attacking quickly, moving in from multiple directions. Daniel did not panic. He had prepared for this. He had trained the humans, set up alarms, and planned escape paths. "Follow me," he said calmly. He led Lyra and the humans to cover behind broken walls and debris. "Use your eyes and ears. Move carefully. Think before you act." The hostile aliens rushed toward the humans. Daniel used small reflections, noises, and broken walls to confuse them. Lyra helped guide the humans, running quickly to hold their hands and carry small supplies. Even though she was small, she moved with courage. Kayla and Raven watched closely. They saw Daniel's cleverness and patience. Humans did not fight blindly. They acted with thought, protecting each other. That was dangerous in ways the aliens did not fully understand. Daniel led the humans through hidden paths, guiding them to a partially destroyed warehouse. "We stay together," he whispered. "We protect each other." A group of hostile aliens entered the warehouse, expecting humans to be easy prey. Daniel had anticipated this. He had set small traps with broken metal panels, wires, and mirrors. When the aliens stepped inside, loud noises and smoke erupted, confusing them. The humans moved quietly, avoiding the chaos. Lyra stayed close to Daniel, helping when she could. Together they reached another section of the warehouse, safe from immediate attack. Kayla stepped forward. "You are clever," she said. "You do not need weapons. You survive with your mind and courage." Daniel smiled faintly. "We survive because we protect what matters." Strength is not always in weapons. Strength is in courage, patience, and care. Raven nodded slowly. "Your people are more than I imagined. They are clever, brave, and enduring." The hostile aliens eventually retreated, confused and frustrated. Daniel led the humans back outside, showing them safe paths. Lyra ran ahead to help smaller humans, guiding them carefully. The aliens watching were amazed. Humans had survived and protected others without fighting blindly. The alien leaders approached. They studied Daniel and Lyra closely. Kayla spoke first. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and patience. You protect each other. You endure danger without fear. That is unusual for humans." The older leader stepped forward. "I have watched your actions," he said slowly. "Humans are not weak. They survive, endure, and protect those they care about. They act cleverly under pressure. They are dangerous not because of weapons but because of courage and mind. They are worthy." Daniel nodded calmly. "We survive because we protect each other," he said. "We endure because we care. That is what makes humans strong." Lyra ran to Daniel and hugged him. "Father, we did it," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "Yes, we did," he said, "together." The alien leaders looked at the humans behind him. "These humans are unusual," one said. "They survive, they protect each other, and they endure. They may live in this sector under observation, but they have earned it." Kayla and Raven nodded slowly. They had learned something new. Humans were clever, brave, and protective. That was dangerous in ways they could not fully control. Daniel guided the humans back to the safe building. Lyra stayed close, carrying small supplies. The humans were tired but proud. They had survived, learned, and proven themselves. That night Daniel sat with Lyra under the stars. "We have shown them," he said softly. "Humans are not weak. We endure, we protect what matters, we survive." Lyra smiled. "We did it, Father, they see us now." Daniel nodded. "Yes, and the next time we will be even stronger. Humans are clever, brave, and patient. That is how we survive, and that is how we win." Kayla watched from a distance. She had learned something important. Humans were more than prey. They were clever, patient, brave, and willing to protect each other. That made them dangerous in ways the aliens had not expected. The colony was still ruined, and danger was still present, but Daniel knew something important. Humans could survive. Humans could protect others. Humans could endure, and in this sector of space, humans had begun to earn respect. The stars shone above the colony. Daniel held Lyra's hand. "We survive because we care," he whispered. "Because we protect each other, because we endure." Lyra nodded. "Because we are together," she said. Daniel smiled. "Yes," he said. "That is what makes humans strong. That is what makes us dangerous in the universe. Not with weapons, but with courage, patience, and love." The aliens watching could not deny the truth. Humans were clever, enduring, and brave. They had survived attacks, protected each other, and protected a child. They had survived where many species would have failed. Daniel looked at Lyra and the humans around them. They were tired but alive. They were small but strong. They were human. And for the first time in a ruined colony at the edge of alien space, humans were no longer just survivors. They were respected. They were brave. They were clever. They were dangerous, not because of weapons, but because of their courage, patience, and willingness to protect those they loved. The colony had changed. The aliens' perception had changed. And Daniel, Lyra, and the humans had shown the universe what it meant to endure, survive, and thrive. Daniel looked up at the stars one last time that night. "We survived," he whispered. "We will continue to survive, and nothing in the universe can change that." Lyra squeezed his hand. "We are strong," she whispered. "Yes," Daniel said, "we are human, and that is enough."